All right, welcome. Today we're diving headfirst into the rapidly shifting landscape of the global tech industry. And if you think you know the rules of the game, well, you might want to think again, because things are changing faster than ever.
It's the big question on everyone's mind, right? Who is really winning the AI race? And as you're about to see, the answer is a whole lot more complicated than a simple finish line.
So let's get right into it. The push for AI supremacy isn't a single marathon. It's much more like a war being fought on multiple fronts, and those battle lines are constantly being redrawn.
Our first front is the very foundation of AI, the silicon itself. This is the escalating chip war, where computing power is the ultimate prize.
In one corner, you have the undisputed titan, NVIDIA, whose hardware powers pretty much every major AI model out there. And in the other, a challenger born out of necessity, Alibaba. They used to be a major NVIDIA customer, but now they're being forced to innovate on their own to get around U.S. trade restrictions. And this sets off a perfect chain reaction. U.S. export controls block China's access to top-tier chips. So, in response, a massive nationwide push for self-sufficiency kicks into high gear. Alibaba develops its own chips and, crucially, moves its production to a domestic manufacturer. And this isn't a one-off thing. Huawei is doing the same with its Ascend system. This is a strategic pivot for an entire nation. And this quote from Huawei's founder just perfectly captures that vibe. It's a bold declaration of confidence. It basically says, if you won't sell to us, fine, we'll build it ourselves. That's the mindset driving this whole effort.
And this isn't just talk. The market is absolutely listening. The moment news broke about Alibaba's chip, NVIDIA's stock dropped 3%. That number represents Wall Street suddenly realizing that one of NVIDIA's biggest customers is transforming into a serious competitor.
But here's the catch. For now, there's a critical weakness in the Chinese chips. They're getting better and better at inference, which is running an already trained AI model. But they still lag in training, that grueling process of building the model from scratch. And in that arena, NVIDIA is still king.
Now, this hardware war feeds directly into our second battlefront, the chaotic, incredibly fast-paced race to build smarter AI models. And this just goes to show you the insane pressure everyone is under. Even a giant like Meta is scrambling. Their Llama 4 model isn't getting the user engagement they want, so they're actually considering a wild stopgap measure, using models from their biggest rivals, Google and OpenAI, just to stay in the game while they work on Llama 5.
To understand the next move in this race, we need to talk about this term opt-out. It's a simple but powerful idea, where your data is used by default and the burden is on you to actively say no.
And that brings us to Anthropic's new strategy. They need more high-quality data to improve their AI, Claude, so they're changing their policy. They'll now use customer conversations and code to train their models. It's an opt-out system, and if you don't opt out, your data could be kept for up to 5 years. It's a strategic move to gather the fuel they need to compete.
Meanwhile, you've got OpenAI making this massive technical leap. The old way of doing voice AI was this clunky 3-step pipeline: voice to text, then processing, then text back to voice. The new GPT-Realtime? It's a single, elegant structure that processes audio directly. The result? It's not just faster, it can now understand things like intonation and emotion.
And the proof is right here in the performance. This isn't some tiny tweak, it is a giant leap. On the Big Bench audio benchmark, accuracy jumped from around 66% to nearly 83%. That is a massive jump in capability.
Okay, so we've seen the war over hardware and the war over software, but now the battle is expanding into a surprising new territory, the world of finance.
That's right. The same forces that are driving the competition in chips and AI are now taking aim at the way we use money. This isn't just about tech anymore. It's about your wallet. Check out this move from MasterCard. They're teaming up with Circle, a major stablecoin issuer, to roll out crypto-based payments across Eastern Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. This is the first time stablecoins have been officially supported as a payment method across that entire region.
And this quote just lays their massive ambition bare. The head of MasterCard for the region says their goal is to support the evolution to tokenized programmable money. This isn't about adding a new payment option, it's about fundamentally changing what money is and how it works.
So what's the endgame here? It's really a two-pronged strategy. First, to enable instant borderless commerce. And second, and maybe more importantly, to move away from the old, slow, traditional banking networks. This is a direct challenge to the financial status quo. All right, we have covered a ton of ground across 3 distinct battle lines. So where is all of this headed? What happens next?
First, we saw the chip war. This is a geopolitical fight over the very foundation of AI, driven by a national push for technological independence.
Next, the model war. This is a frantic scramble for superior intelligence, one that's pushing even the biggest companies to their limits and fueling a relentless hunger for our data.
And finally, the battle expanded to a surprising new front, a strategic push into payments, with the goal of reshaping the global financial system itself. So we're left with this question. As these conflicts over chips, data, and money escalate and start to merge, the issue isn't just which company wins, it's about who gets to write the rules for our shared digital future. And what ultimately will that mean for the rest of us?